Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 101 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series, where we're continuing with Ars Nouveau. Super fun mod so far, like so many cool things that are in it, and I just want to play around a little bit more, that's all. And then what I'm thinking I'm going to do, and hopefully this sounds fun to you guys, is I'll play a little bit more with Ars Nouveau, and then maybe switch back to Mana and Artifice, which, as you guys remember, is by the same mod author as Ars Magica. And we'll compare the two kind of custom spell-making mods. Obviously, they're not in any way similar. Like, they're very different, actually. Yes, both have the ability to create custom spells, but obviously very, very different approaches to how they work. So, long story short, I think that should be fun. So let's continue with Ars Nouveau for a little bit, and then we'll switch gears and check out that one. So let's see what other things we can do. I'll look at the tier 2 and 3 spells in a moment, but I want to finish off the Getting Started chapter. So there's trinkets and baubles that can expand your casting and provide unique buffs. For more casting, you may want to craft a Ring of Discount or an Amulet of Mana Regen. For travel, see the Belt of Levitation or improve your mining efficiency with the Jar of Voiding. That all looks cool. So Amulet of Mana Regen increases mana regen by a moderate amount. Seems easy enough. Belt of Levitation allows the user to levitate a moderate distance above the ground. Useful for climbing mountains. Simply sneak in the air while falling or jumping to rise. That's kind of cool. Jar of Light summons a light that will follow the user as they move. Can be summoned and dismissed at any time. That's interesting. That's always been a little bit of a about that kind of thing. I'm interested to see how that one works. So I might put the Jar of Light on my to-do list. That's one that I've definitely been saying, like, what is that? I'm curious when we get to it what it's all about. Discount, in addition to providing a small bonus to maximum mana and regen, Rings of Discount reduce the total cost to cast a spell. And then the Warp Scroll, a scroll that may be used a single time to teleport to a recorded location. However, teleporting across dimensions is not possible. Can be used to warp other entities if an inscribed scroll is held in the offhand and the holder casts Blink on an entity. Oh, that's kind of interesting. That's neat. All right, well, there you go. So that's the basics in the introduction. So let's flip to the other machines besides the tier 2 and 3 stuff, right? So we've got a lot of these covered already. There's Warding Stone we've made, so that's nothing major. We can clear that out. Crystallizer provides a renewable source of mana gems by condensing world mana over time. The Crystallizer can work passively at a very slow rate, or it may be given mana from adjacent jars and create mana gems at a much faster rate. That's it? It just makes mana gems? I guess that's cool, but no thanks. Warp Portal. Ooh, that looks neat. Like Warp Scrolls, provide a one-way teleport to any location provided it is in the same dimension. To construct a portal, build a frame from arcane bricks or its variants in the shape of another portal, and provide a full mana jar nearby. Then throw a Warp Scroll with a written location into the frame. Given there is enough mana nearby, the portal will be created. A magical portal that can send players mob spells and items to any location in the same dimension. Oh, that's cool. Spells can travel through it. Neat. Should we create it just for fun, just to see what it looks like? I mean, that seems like fun. That could be cool. Warp Scroll. So I guess first things first is we'd have to set a location, right? And then we just create another portal frame out of arcane stone and or bricks. Sounds like fun. Okay. Just to see what it looks like. I'm not going to do anything crazy with it, but I'm just curious, right? So, like, you record your location on your Warp Scroll. Cool. Obviously, we have several similar mechanics that are possible here, right? But I just want to see how this looks. So it's, just to be sure, right? It is... Oh, that's neat. Oh, I want to rotate you. How do I rotate you? I don't know if I can. But it's 3 on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4 up, right? So the traditional nether portal structure size. And then just throw... Oh, we need a full mana jar. I mean, there is one relatively nearby. But I don't know if you're nearby enough. Every time I break this, I just get a new jar and fill it. We're going to have jars everywhere pretty soon. And then just toss it in there. Oh, hello. Wow, that's a thing. That is a trippy kind of a thing right there. Sweet, it works. It's a little trippy. Like, there's something off with the rendering, it feels like. I don't know what, but something feels wrong. Doesn't it feel wrong? Something feels off. And yeah, that does use a significant amount of mana. Now, do we need mana in the jar in order to continue using it? I think it was a one-time mana thing. Whee! Alright, cool. Just wanted to check it out. That's literally all it was. I just wanted to toy with it for a minute, just to see how it would work. I'm going to have this empty one, or relatively empty one there. Just for fun. A lot of playing with this mod at this point is just for fun, obviously. But just to see what it looks like, to see some of the, to check it out, show you guys, really just for fun kind of stuff. And you know what? Let me know in the comments of this video, very important, if you like these just for fun episodes as a fun break from like the, you know, other stuff that I do, right? Like, so some of my episodes, like, I'm very driven and have a purpose. Sometimes it's just like, let's play with this mod and have fun with it. Are you, like, you guys like the play with it mod episodes or not? Let me know. There's also sylphs. I played with these guys on Forgecraft. So if you saw my Forgecraft series, you saw me play with them. Basically, they can generate all forms of crops and flowers and wood resources. So basically any growable stuff. I'm not going to play with them in this series, I think. I'm going to skip them. Magical equipment. I want to see what runic chalk is about. Is that a thing? Can be used to place permanent runes on the ground that will cast spells on entities that walk over them. To give a rune a spell, inscribe spell parchment using the scribe's table. Once the rune has cast the spell, it will become uncharged. An uncharged rune will charge itself from nearby mana jars. Using runic chalk on a temporary rune will convert it to a permanent one. That's cool. That's cool. I might want to try that. I'm trying to think if there's any spells I'd like to try, right? So that an entity walks over it. I don't know. We're going to have to like play with what spells are available, and then we can play with that a little bit more. There's nothing we currently have unlocked that I'd want to do that with, but we'll see. There's a couple more amulets. Increase your mana. Occasionally grants a random positive potion effect for a short duration. That's interesting. Wands accept a single spell and are inscribed using the scribe's table. A wand always starts with projectile accelerate and must be inscribed with a spell that does not have another method. This allows you to cast spells beyond the 10 spell cap. If you want a wand that casts break, inscribe the wand with just break and your result will be projectile accelerate break. Yeah, that's kind of neat. Dull items. Okay. Enchanter's Bow is a bow that can be inscribed with a spell using the scribe's table. If a player has enough mana, arrows will become spell arrows and will apply the spell on their target. If no arrows are in the inventory, a spell arrow that deals 0 damage will be cast. If there is not enough mana, regular arrows will be fired. Enchanter's Bows may use special augment arrows for empowering the inscribed spell. That's neat. I might want to try that. Adds 2 amplifies to the end of the inscribed spell when used. Each recipe makes 32. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Maybe yes, I might want that. Can you imagine like an arrow that does like harm with all the amplifies and then 2 more on top of it? Maybe. Yeah, what's the Jar of Voiding do? That can destroy items on pickup and grants a small amount of mana in return. Ah, I see. Use the jar while sneaking. Okay. Use the jar with an item in the offhand, or use an item on the scribe's table with the jar placed on it, and that'll set the what gets voided. All right, that makes sense. Reactive is an enchant that's applied to any item. They automatically cast the spell when used. Oh, that's neat. That's kind of cool. So if I put reactive on my armor, it'll cast a spell when I get hit. Greater discount. So I'm not going to go into these too much. I'm just kind of flipping through. So I think now let's look at our tier 2 spells. And what I'd like to do is consider like the runes that'll let you walk over it, and then the enchanting bow that lets me shoot arrows that do things. That sound neat? So let's flip through these real quick. Access Ender Inventory does what you'd expect. Snares and causes a burst of damage to an entity that is affected by slowness or is wet. Okay. Okay. That seems pretty straightforward. Conjure Water, places water at the location, seems fine. Turn stone into gravel and gravel into sand. Will also cause harm entities and deals bonus damage to entities that are swimming. Exchanges the blocks in the player's hotbar for the blocks that are hit. Causes an explosion. When used on entities that are on fire, flares cause a burst of damage and will spread fire and deal damage to the other nearby entities. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I wonder if I could do like projectile, flame, delay, flare. That would probably work, right? Does significantly more damage than harm. Can be augmented with extend time, amplify, and AoE. That might be cool. Should we try that? I kind of want to try that. We should try Ignite. And there is like a tier 1 fire spell, right? I assume. There's Freeze, Ignite. Sets blocks and mobs on fire for a short period of time. So I should try that, right? I should definitely try that. So that's Ignite, and then there's Flare. That's the one that we were just looking at, the tier 2. I mixed them up, but that's the gist, right? So that's cool. Gravity causes blocks and entities to fall. Grow we already have. Heal makes sense. Invisibility applies a shield buff. This buff will reduce the flat amount of damage taken from physical and magical sources. Does not reduce damage from environmental sources. Smelts blocks and items in the world. Pretty straightforward. AoE we already have. Accelerate increases the speed of projectile spells. Decreases the power of most spells. Decreases the mana cost slightly, but never below 0. Reduces spell duration. Extends the time that spells last. Applies a Silk Touch effect to break. Causes explosion to not destroy blocks that drop. Oh, cool. Fortune increases the drop chance from mobs killed by damage and blocks that are destroyed by break. Cannot be combined with extract. So here's an interesting thing about Fortune. You can stack multiple Fortunes in the same way you stack multiple Amplifies. So you can get well beyond Fortune 3. You can get like Fortune 8 or something ridiculous like that. So we should definitely put that one on our to-do list. Yes, Fortune. That would be cool. Just to see like how great we can do with it. Because wouldn't it be cool? So here's an idea. Depending on how good it can be, would it make sense to replace the thing we have in our basement that's automatically breaking things with that automation thing that does Fortune? If we can get more Fortune than the refined storage Fortune does, that might be worth it. Pierce projectiles will continue their path. Okay, that's cool. So let's see what tier 3 spells have. Blink teleports the caster to a location. If an entity is hit and the caster is holding a warp scroll in the offhand, the entity will be warped to the location of the warp scroll. When used on self, the caster blinks forward. Spell turrets and runes can warp entities using warp scrolls from adjacent inventories. That's kind of neat. That's kind of cool. Summons Evoker Fangs in the direction where the spell was targeted. Causes blocks to temporarily turn into air. Can be modified with Amplify for blocks of higher hardness. AoE duration down and extend time. Okay. That's kind of neat. I might want to try that. Intangible. That does sound cool. That does sound cool. Lightning summons a lightning bolt. Pretty straightforward. Strength buff, summon Vex. Summons 3 Vex allies that will attack nearby hostile enemies. These Vex will last a short time until they begin to take damage, but time may be extended with the extend time augment. That sounds cool. I kind of want that one. Applies the Wither debuff. Yes, we have to try that with Amplify, because I'm just curious how ridiculous we can get. Can you imagine like Wither Amplify 8? Would that apply Wither 8 to whatever we hit? Just asking for a friend. Cast multiple projectiles to be cast at once. Each projectile applies a set of effects. Cool. So I think we have a list of spells to make, right? And items. Let's go make the spells and try them all out. So I'm going to pop over to here, ready to cast our stuff. Now, some of these are tier 3 spells, right? So we're going to need some mythical clay, which doesn't look too hard to make, luckily. So I'm not too worried about that. You know, we'll see what we got going on. So 5 of you and 5 of you, and that should be good. That should be pretty good. Okay, so first off, we want to try Ignite and Flare, right? So Flare needs Ignite, so I'm going to need 2 Ignites, which is Flint and Steel. Okay. I should just make a new one of those, because I have no idea if it's going to accept a broken Flint and Steel. Okay. So that's going to be you with you. Dun 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 dun. And we will get 2 Ignites, one for the purposes of making Flare, right? So learn it. Ignite check. And this will be an interesting use case for delay, right? Because it'll apply Ignite, and then it'll delay, and then it'll flare it. And I don't know if we need delay, right? We'll find out if we need delay. I'm not quite sure. We may not. We'll try it with and without. How's that sound? Cool. Unlocked flare. So now, instead of harm on our first spell book, let's do ignite, delay, right? And then flare with a bunch of amplifies. That sound cool? And that was my break spell. But I don't really need the break spell. At least not now. We will probably want to break spell at some point in the future. So this will be ignite. And that's cool times. All right, let's go find a mob to test this on. It can be an animal first if we want it to be. So hello, sheep. Haha! That worked exactly the way I hoped it would. That was cool. Did you see that? Now, I don't know if we need the delay or not. I don't legitimately know if delay is necessary. It's good to know, though. It's good to know. I'm going to go try it on like an actual mob and see how much damage it does. And of course it's raining, but that's okay. We're headed towards a desert. We should be getting out of the range. Yes, yeah, I see some zombies and whatnot. That's kind of cool. Now, should we test this? You know what I should do is I should throw some amplifiers on our thing, but whatever. Let's try it without delay. Can I do that? Can I just do that? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Who needs delay? Oh, and it automatically reorganizes it for us. Nice. That's cool. Can an Enderman? That's neat. And it actually, it's a nice area of effect spell, kind of. That's kind of cool. So if you shoot it into a bunch of mobs, let's try it on this dude. Oh, yeah, that knocks him out pretty darn quick. So if there's like a group of mobs together. Yes. That is cool. Did you see that? That is awesome. That is really quite cool. One thing I might want is amplify, just to make the spell shoot faster. And I think I'm going to try that real quick. I don't know if we have amplify. I'm going to, or not amplify, accelerate, accelerate. Accelerate. Yeah, that one is the, yeah, so that needs a powered rail. And which tier is that? That is Marvelous Clay tier. Alright, let's put away some junk we don't super need at the moment and probably sleep through this night. What's this? Oh, a sheep statue. Neat. Alright, sleep through the night. We're going to check out Accelerate, which will make the projectile fire faster. Because part of the problem is, like, I shoot the dude and he moves, and then he's out, and the projectile is not moving quick enough, right? So let's, you with the powered rail. And that'll get me Accelerate. And I'm going to remove one of these, and we'll see what happens. Cool. Alright, so I want you to be... Do I need to put Accelerate, like, do I put it here and that works? I can't tell if that worked. Let's put Accelerate like that. Does the book tell me how to do Accelerate? Increases the speed of projectile spells. It doesn't really tell me how to do it, but let's try it out. So what we're going to do is Accelerate, and then Ignite, and then Flare, and then all your amplifies. I can't tell too well how that's going. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell what your speed looks like there. That looks definitely... What if we put a couple accelerates on the end? Don't forget to hit create. Alright, now if we put a couple accelerates on the beginning, and then ignite, flare, amplifies. That looks faster, right? It doesn't look that much faster, though, is my problem. I mean, it's a little bit faster, but not that much faster. That doesn't seem to be any difference, right? So I think your accelerate definitely needs to be at the beginning. And then ignite, flare, bunch of amplifies. Yeah, I think that's the way it should be. Now let's go make sure this is still a one-shot kill on most things. I think I'll pop into the nether super quick to deal with some testing. We'll test it on nether mobs. Are magma slimes like immune to fire or anything like that? I have no idea. We're gonna find out though. Did he just jump over it? What a stinker. Yeah, no, he doesn't take any damage from fire. I mean, that makes sense. I wouldn't expect him to. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty... Actually, yeah, now that I'm paying attention to this, I feel like that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Can I pop into... I mean, we have a blaze spawner here. I got to imagine this will work on wither skeletons, maybe? I don't know. Zombie pigmen, probably, though. Do they also not take damage from fire? I guess they don't. That's interesting. Alright, good to know. Anyway, that's enough playing with that. But that's a really good spell. We're keeping that one. We are definitely keeping that one. That is neat. Alright, so that's Ignite and Flare. And we definitely wanted Fortune, which is a rabbit's foot. Oh good, we have one. Nice. And Fortune was a Marvelous Clay tier. So let's get that guy unlocked. We're going to try this with our Break spell. It should also work on Harm spells and the Ignite one I just did. There does not appear enough mana nearby. Aha. We'll try this on both. And this one might legitimately be a really good use case for actually having a purpose for us. Because the thing in the basement that automatically Fortune breaks blocks, I could do this with a Fortune spell. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. So if we did Fortune, and then we took our spell book here, and we did number 2, can be Fortune Break. And I might want this to be a touch spell for now, because there's no reason for it to be a projectile, right? Break, and just max out Fortune. Yeah. Now, if we were to get, let's see, do we have like Diamond Ore in here? We just have an Undergarden Diamond Ore, which I have no idea what that means. There's some up here, though. Is there anything in here I can Fortune and see what it does? Yeah, there's like Redstone and a few other things. This is still running. I never actually wound up using it, but, you know, the point is it's there. Well, that wasn't all that exciting. 5 Redstone feels weak. Not enough mana. I agree. 7 Redstone. It was a little bit more that time. It's a lot of mana to cast this, though, is the problem. 16 Lapis from a single block? I'm debating if that's worth it. The problem would be I'd have to, like, automate the mana production down there. I'm debating if that's... The amount of things we have to break and the amount of mana it would cost to break it. Like, if this gave me, like, 3 stacks from a single block, I'd be like, yeah, worth it. But it's not impressing me as much as I thought it would. Okay, Totem of Undying, Phantom Membrane, and Wither Skeleton Skull. I really want to try these things out just to see how much trouble we can get into with them, right? I think it sounds cool. Alright, so you... I want to summon some Vex for myself and see how ridiculous we can get the Wither effect. Not enough mana nearby. Alright, I mean, it makes sense. They're tier 3 spells. They should be very expensive, in fairness. Can you combine in some way? Will you draw from multiple? That's actually a really good question. I don't know if he'll draw from multiple mana jars. Like, do they both have to have, or, like, can they do this? Not enough mana nearby. Alright, so let's do this then. Down here, we should have 3 very full jars. Yes? Told you we're just gonna have jars everywhere. Mana jars everywhere. How's that for enough mana? Yeah, it's like half a mana jar to cast that, or to get that spell. And then Wither. Cool. And I'm going to try the Wither spell on myself first, just to see, like, does it really give me Wither 8? Because that's, I think, the only way we can know, right? You know, a little experimentation will go a long way. So let's go, I think I can, can I do clear? That's cool. Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, let's clear. So you still have the name, unfortunately. I'm going to suggest that. Clear should clear the name as well. Dispel I'm going to hang on to. All right, so 3, that's going to be the Summon Vex. So I guess Projectile Summon Vex? Does that make sense? Will that Summon Vex? Yes, wherever the projectile hits. That's cool. Ooh, and I got Summoning Sickness. I think that means I can't summon any more spells. Oh, that's neat. That is cool. And then after a short period of time, they're going to start to die off. Yep, there they go. But remember, extend time can keep them around longer. We're going to test that out. The other one I wanted to try, so let's name you Vex, right, was Wither. So we should do, let's do Self-Wither. And that obviously gives you, wow, 30 seconds of Withering. Now this might be a really bad idea. I'm not going to lie. But I want to just see how ridiculous we can get. 2 amplifies gives me Wither 3. Yeah. That gave me Wither 9. Yes, it did. It absolutely did give me Wither 9. I don't know if Wither 9 does anything. More so, like, I don't know if there's a limit to how much withering will happen. Can I get number 6 to be Self-Dispel? You know, I should make number 7 Self-Dispel. Oh, I like that. I like that. Self-Dispel removes whatever. I like that. Forget getting a milk bucket. We got Self-Dispel now. That's cool. Now you are a projectile, Mr. Wither. So let's go find some mobs to test that on. Obviously, we're going to use animals first. You know, got to test it on the cows. Just curious. It still only does half a heart of damage. That's kind of a bummer. I thought that would do a lot more. I was hoping that Wither 9 would be, like, way more damage. I guess the higher tier of Wither just affects how frequently you get hit by the Withering effect, and there's probably an upper limit to that. So, not quite as exciting as I had hoped for. Not quite as exciting as I had hoped for, but, you know, still pretty cool. So the other spell we wanted to try was Intangible, right? Just to see what it's like. So number 5, Intangible. We will do Touch for that one, Intangible. That sound cool? So what's that do again? It makes it, oh, that's neat. And then it fades back in. Oh, that's awesome. Now if I add an AoE component to it, oh, you don't say. Well, that's exciting. Does that work on tile entities? He asked, very suspiciously. Just curious what happens if I do that to, like, a chest, for example. More so interested in, like, what happens if there's, like, wires in the wall or anything like that. Okay, so no, it doesn't work on tile. That's good. I think it would be bad if it worked on tile entities. I don't think you would want that. But that's good news. The fact that it ignores tile entities is very good news. I like that. Now, if I threw Extend Time on there... Do we have Extend Time? We do, right? It's not a modifier, though. Or no, wait, Delay is. I don't know if we have Extend Time. Is that the clock? Yeah. And that's a Marvelous Clay. Womp. If I throw Extend Time on there, does that mean that it's going to stay transparent longer, right? So as it sits right now, it looks like this, where it comes back a couple seconds? which might be enough, to be fair. Yeah, no, that's definitely taking longer to come back. That is absolutely taking longer to come back. That's kind of neat. That is kind of neat. I like that a little bit. Because you know what I can do with that? This. I'm going to have one extend time on there. But, like, that's neat, right? Isn't that cool? It's like a make a door anywhere kind of spell. Boop. 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 That is awesome. Boop, boop, boop. Boop. That is super cool. That's neat. Alright. Dyer's a fan. Can you tell? Alright, so the next thing I wanted to make was that jar of light thing that travels along with you. And that is this recipe. I love that crafting mechanic. It's so cool looking. You know Dyer, he just gets excited. So, do I click you to turn you on or something? You have a clicking effect, but I don't quite get it. That was under... Magical equipment, jar of light. Can be summoned and dismissed at any time. Ah. Am I missing it? Is it here? Is that it? Oh, that's it. It's in front of me. Okay. Cool. Hey, look at that. It is a little bit. I'm assuming what it does... Yeah, look at that. Okay. So it follows you. It doesn't update very often. Oh, and the jar bounces when it updates too, so that's a thing. Not a huge thing. Yeah. No, I know how that works. I knew that was... It had to do something like that. It had to do something like that. So I bet there's NBT data on here. Can I see that? 4 NBT tags. How do I see those NBT tags? That would be cool. But I bet the NBT tag is where the jar currently is and whether or not it's active. And what it probably does is, like, every second in your inventory, it replaces the light, it takes it away from where it currently is, and puts it where the player is. I bet that's how it works. Yeah, those have always been, like, wonky. Because the problem is, it's doing a place block. It's literally placing a block in the world. You can see the block. See? It's placing a block in the world. Right? You know, and I guess if it fails to break it, it's off. Okay, that makes sense. Right? So you can't do that every tick, or you'll cause a lot of lag. But doing it every second, it's a little bit, you know, I mean, it's not bad. It works. Like, if I was mining underground, right? Imagine you're mining underground, and you're like, do. This is plenty of light. You know, it's not a big deal. But yeah, those kind of things, any mod that's ever tried to do that before has always been a little bit, it's bad on performance to do it in a way that looks good, is basically what it comes down to. All right, that is pretty cool. I think that's probably it for Ars Nouveau at this moment. I think we've covered a lot of the mod. There's a few things we didn't look at. We skipped the Wixie a little bit, but that's okay. We covered a lot, though. So let's wrap up the Ars Nouveau stuff at this point, right? I'll turn off tooltips because that was cool. Let's wrap up this segment on Ars Nouveau. We might come back and look at Mana and Artifice, or we might work on something else. I haven't entirely decided what I want to work on next. We'll figure it out. You know I always do. But let's wrap up this segment. I will keep in mind all these cool abilities that we have and probably have fun with them and plan for them to be neat. Right? Like, because we could do some really cool stuff with this. Like, we could make a door out of that intangible thing that's, like, triggered by a pressure plate. Right? That would be cool. So there's some neat capabilities that we now have. So, like, next time we need to automate or do something, I might do it with Ars Nouveau. But I need to wait until I have something I need to automate. So for now, wrapping up point, Darryl20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time for more fun things. I think I'm going to remove my Archmage armor, but I will put it in my quantum bag so that it's ready for when I want to do more magical things, and then I can bring out my mecha suit again and have that all good to go. All right, guys, take it easy.